Lost, by far one of my favorite shows. So what sets this airplane show apart from all the others? I would argue that Lost stands out because Lost has a wide variety of characters that continue to develop and unfold as the series progresses. The writers have great control over letting the audience learn more about the characters at exactly the right time. This show does an amazing job at show don't tell, which basically means don't do this.
You can't just have your characters announce how they feel! That makes me feel angry!
So let's take a look at the character development in Lost. The pilot is 2 episodes long, but by the end of the pilot, we already have formed opinions and know how we feel about each character, and there is a lot. Jack, Kate, John Locke, Sawyer, Hurley, Saeed, Charlie, Claire, Sun, Jen, Michael, Walt, Boone, and Shannon. We won't go into the development of all of these many characters, but each are connected in a very complex manner. This is a diagram in one season alone. Let's take a look into John Locke's character. I won't tell you about him. Just like in the show, let's watch some clips of John Locke and see what you think about him.
One is light, one is dark.
He seems a little off and possibly crazy, or maybe carefree. From the beginning, the writers want us to be unsure of Locke, and this apprehension continues most, if not all, of the series. However, we do learn more about him to smooth out his character a bit a few episodes later. First, they paint him to look even crazier, but then they show how he has wilderness skills and uses them to get food for everyone. This small event is cut together with these scenes from his past.
Tell me, what's a walk about? Experience the dream journeys of the fabled Australian outback. You can't do any of that.
The walkabouts we arrange here are not just some stroll through the park. It's trekking across vast stretches of desert, rafting, bloody treacherous waters.
Look, you've got no idea who you're talking to. I'm well aware of what's involved, believe me.
You neglected to tell us about your condition.
My condition is not an issue. I've lived with it for 4 years. It's never kept me from doing anything.
Well, unfortunately, it is an issue for our insurance company.
Look, I've been preparing for this for years. Just put me on the bus right now. I can do this.
No, you can't.
Hey, don't you walk away from me. You don't know who you're dealing with. Don't ever tell me what I can't do, ever!
This is one of the many times when the writers withhold information until it adds to the story and allows us as the audience to understand the characters better than the characters on the screen understand each other. So when Locke says,
I'm not a big believer in magic, but this place is different. It's special.
we believe him, but we understand why the characters think he's a crazy man. Then we have Kate Austen. Kate is early seen stitching up Jack's back, so the first thing we learn about her is that she has a kind heart. Later we see her in the woods with Jack and Charlie. When fear strikes, since Jack and Kate bonded earlier, we see how they check on each other but exclude Charlie, who early is portrayed as a little bit off.
I'm fine. Charlie's fine, by the way.
Later when Jack disappears, Kate cries out for him. All of these occurrences show a connection between Jack and Kate. We continue to see Kate worry about Charlie as well, which shows that it is her kind heart and it's not just that she cares about Jack, even though she cares a lot about Jack. Anyways, we as well as the characters have learned to trust her. We then learn that someone on the island is a criminal, and then we see this.
I want to take it apart.
Pretty convincing, right? Well, just wait till you see what happens next. We all saw her heart and trusted her, so we understand why the other characters believe that it isn't Kate. But how did she pin it off on Sawyer so easily? We first see Sawyer like this. No looking room. This makes us curious and unsure of his character. We then see him sitting alone, separating himself from the group. He then shows up in the woods with a gun. He made no connections with others and then has a gun, causing all kinds of questions.
People don't carry guns on planes.
Do if they're U.S. Marshals, sweet cheeks. There was one on the plane.
How do you know that?
I saw a guy lying there with an ankle holster, so I took the gun.
So why do you think he's a Marshal?
Even though Kate is the one with the past, we see that on the island, he is pinned as the bad guy early on. He never really loses this title, and we also learn that he used to be a con man.
You weren't exactly supposed to see that.
But his development through the season is very interesting. His tough exterior is heightened until Kate discovers this.
Dear Mr. Sawyer, you don't know who I am, but I know who you are. You killed my parents, Mr. Sawyer.
I read it again.
Then I looked at the envelope. America's Bicentennial, Knoxville, Tennessee. You're just a kid. Your name's not Sawyer, is it?
What's his name?
This scene shows Sawyer is really hurting on the inside. Though we never fully like Sawyer, we feel for him as we see his inner loneliness and want to be loved, but the writers portray it in such a subtle way that many don't understand why we feel bad for him. When we first see his inner desires, they look a little bit like this.
What do you want for the inhalers?
Kiss ought to do it.
What a jerk. We all thought this, but later while being tortured for information on the whereabouts of a girl's medicine he was assumed to have stolen, he says this.
Only person I'll tell is her. Happy to tell you. As soon as I get that kiss. I don't have it.
He went through all of that for a split second to satisfy his inner desire to feel loved. This is why this show is so captivating. The characters are ever changing, which in turn always pushes the plot forward. Lost is very good at using show don't tell to let the audience decide what they think of a character, and uses dialogue not to tell us what they think or feel, but show us their thought processes and how they are piecing together events from their past with current events to make the best life for themselves on the island.